Hey guys, welcome to a brand new episode of the Filemaker 14 series, or the Filemaker Pro Advanced 14 series of building a digital register. So we are doing the Filemaker show, and today is Saturday, and we are on episode 14, and we're talking about duplicity systems. So what we did was we talked a lot about having I guess you'll get it. Now, one of the questions I did have that I am recently here to answer was, excuse me, I'm still on my first cup of coffee. It's kind of early in the morning for me. But what we were doing was, I had questions about, hey Tim, what happened to that page that you made? What happened to that thing that you made? It doesn't seem like you're using it anymore, the page. Well, we're just getting ready to use that. And then the second question I had was, when did we do the hold button? And the answer to that was, I believe it was episode 9. Episode 9 is where we basically started on that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put in our code. We're going to go to register 1 because that's currently the one that I'm working hot and heavy on. So in this system, what we did is we did, I think we've gotten all of these buttons ready, and we're now on scanner data. We've hidden our stuff. You can see my name is down here because I highlighted it just enough so that we could see it. We now have our hold button, but we did add something, and what we did add is this execute button yesterday, and I'm going to show you how that works. So we'll go ahead and edit the layout, and I'm going to double click on the execute button so that we can get to our script that I wrote for that yesterday. It's a pretty simple script. Basically what I wanted it to do was I wanted to bring it into use in an effective manner so that either an employee could use it, or a cashier or whatever, a person that was doing the actual sale, or a manager could use it. So pretty much anybody could use that to their advantage. So what I did was I started off by saying if is empty, register security box. Now you'll have to duplicate this for every one of your registers, so keep that in mind. And it says set the variable invoice, the value. So we're setting the invoice number is what we're doing. And then we're going to that category page layout that we actually created a while back. So see, it is coming all into play, isn't it? It's all coming into play. And then we're going to set the field invoice lock invoice. We're going to halt the script. So pretty much short version, that's what it does. The second thing that this script does is if it says, if you're a manager and you've put in an access code or you've put in a number, USA Refurb in the house. Hello, 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 welcome, welcome, welcome. I have like tons and tons and tons of screens around me today. So I'm just like, but I do see you, and thank you very much for being there. So what it basically says is if you are a manager or an admin and you put in a security code, what that will do is it will set all of these, your username, it'll reset the boxes and do all the stuff, clean it up for you, and then it's going to go out and go to the entry page, because that's kind of your hub page. That's where everything kind of comes together, and it's going to at that point set a field and then perform that admin access. You guys remember the admin access script that we did? And then it will halt the script. So I'll show you that in quick use. So if what we do is we're just a regular employee, and we find something that we can't scan, we can go to execute, and it will take us directly to our category page. Remember the category page. And this is the page where we built all of our little pieces. We put our clothing in there. So now we automatically have access to that page. But what happens if we go, well, I guess we'll have to exit this. But what happens if we go back to our register 1 page? I'm still there because I haven't logged out. I haven't made changes to the category page yet to actually log me out of this page, because I want those 2 pages to basically be very usable so that you can go. So if you wanted to be here and you wanted this button to be $1 or $5 or whatever, you wanted to use this as a cash system so that you could say, 1, 2, 3, 4, $5, $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, whatever. You could get rid of all the buttons and you could basically just set in a basic cash price for that. So if you had an item that you were clearancing for $20, you could come in and push that $5, $10, $15, $20 button, and it would automatically just add $20 to the invoice. Now, but I wanted this to be able to go back to the invoice so that it was just regular. You could just go back and forth between these two should you need to. Your regular sale page with the scanner data, or you could just go right back to the other page. But however, if you are to put your passcode in there, what it will do then is it will take you to your page. If you guys remember, on our passcode page, on our page here, what we did was we set it up so that if I put in my code, and here it is right here, the 1911 code. If I put in the 1911 code, here's my first name, my last name. This is the destination of where I will end up, which is the admin window. The time in, am I present? Yes. Do I have access? Yes. And then it will go through any wage, last records, the current record that I'm using, and then it will say admin security link. So that's my port link. And these are very, very vital pieces of information, because this is the control page. This is the page. Can you show us the name of the scanner? I certainly can. Let me find the darn little thing. There is an episode where I actually, I don't know if you guys can see that. Hopefully you can see that. But I think when I first did if you just go back to the very first scanner, USA refurb, if you just go back to the very first episode that I did, and I think it was episode 10, episode 9, somewhere right around there, where I had all the yellow printing on there, and it said scanner, scanner, scanner. In the very beginning of that first one, I actually show you the page that I bought it from, where I got it from, and all that other interesting stuff. So it's pretty simple to just go in and find that product. But this admin page, the cool thing about this admin page is that it allows you to set for anybody. So we've got Josh in here, we've got me in here. If we had 10 other employees, we could put those other employees in here. We could change the information at will. So if I decided, you know what, I was tired of that number and I wanted to change my number today, I could just come in and change it. Or if someone said, I think my number is being used, they could just come in and change the number immediately. As an administrator, you can do that. So, but I can make those changes because I am secretly logged onto this page. If someone else ended up on this page by accident, they would not be able to make any changes. It would say, nope, can't do it. Don't worry about it. So they wouldn't have access for sure to be able to make changes to that. But we'll go back to the admin page, and we'll go back to, let's go into our register one page. I think we are still there. No, we're not. See, this one actually logged us out of this page. So we will actually have to go back to our entry page, because if you remember, the scripting won't let us do anything if we're not logged into the page. So put in our number, we'll go into register one, and we now what we want to do is we want to create a saleable item, right? So we want to be able to say, we want to charge for an item on a button. Some people have experienced this and some people have not, but sometimes you get products that don't have SKUs, or they don't have the ability to, you don't have the ability to just scan them. Or like I actually had a product the other day, and the scan tag was literally super, super tiny. I mean, so tiny that it was near impossible to scan it. I wish I had that. Oh, actually, here it is right here. So it is on a bottle, and I'm just going to kind of cover up some of the stuff, but there's the scan thing. See how tiny that is? It's so tiny and so convoluted that my scanner, I couldn't scan it. Couldn't scan it. So there's times that you'll have to use this duplicity system. So in this area, right now none of the buttons actually work except for this clothing button, but let's say I wanted to actually sell a product on this page. So the very first thing we'll do is we'll double click on this, and I'll show you how to do it. So we'll go in, we'll say this one is $1, and we'll do nothing, but we actually want to perform a script. So, but I'm going to just click off of that. I'm going to click back on it. We're going to change it to 24. And so let's say I have a product. Now this could be any product. You could write soda, you could write straws, you could write, you know, whatever you wanted to on the page. This is for just references of being able to see it. It's just $1. Now we don't have anything in the inventory, so we do need to go in and make some changes to the inventory. So let's go into our admin page and we'll go into the base inventory, because that's where we live. And we'll sort all of those records, or we'll show all of those records. And so here you see all of these things. We don't have anything that is $1. Sort. Why is it not sorting those records? Sort by category, ascending order, sort. I wonder why my sorting wasn't working. So here we have the category, quantity, sale price. So we're going to add. We have 1008. So we're going to add this product, and the product is going to be candy bar. We don't care, just candy bar. Or you could just say, you know what, just say bulk sale. That's probably better. Bulk sale item. And its category is whatever you want it to be, you know, liquids, whatever. The quantity that you have in stock is 14. The price is going to be $1. Well, let's say the sale price is $1. Or, well, let's not make it too confusing. Let's just say the retail price is $1. 1.00. You don't even have to put that in. Notes, you could say whatever you wanted to. The cost, you could say whatever you wanted to. And the minimum number, you can fill those in. But now we actually have an item, and it's 1008. So we need to write that down somewhere. We know that we have it there, because we're going to do some scripting very quickly. So 1008 is what we'll do. That is our code for that particular product. So at this point, we're going to exit this. We need to go back to our we need to go back to that page that we were actually on, or we could just go in and manage our. Let's just go in and manage our scripts from here. So manage our scripts, because we need a new script. But dang Bernard, I really want to. I want to do it from somewhere else, because you guys know, as we already know, that it can be quite complicated doing it from here. So we're just going to add a new script. In this new script, we are going to call this the master button. Master button. And the very first thing we're going to do is, we're not even going to save it yet. We're just going to go through and start typing it out. So the very first thing that we're probably going to do is we'll say freeze window. So if we just type in freeze. Now this is going to take some skill set, because hopefully you guys have named all your buttons or all of your pieces, all of your parts and pieces, your fields, the same as I did, so that you can understand where this is coming from, because it's going to be very complicated right off the bat. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to set some fields, and the field that we're going to set is in our, and this is the reason why I wanted to be in that, on that page, right? So it's going to be in our menu page, and it's going to be the, I believe it's product code or product ID code. Let's see, what did I do? It should be product code. And the calculated result of that is going to be, it's going to be a get field. So we need to come down here and just scroll through those, and we're going to get something. So we're going to get, and get script parameter is the one that we're actually looking for. Get script parameter. And we'll say that is okay. And now we have menu product code get script parameter. That's the very first thing that we have to do. Now we need to set a variable. Now, a lot of people are like, why do you have to do this particular way? Why does this code have to be written in this set? Can't you just get the script parameter and put it in a different field, or to carry it with you, or set it as a variable? And the answer to that question is no. You can't effectively do it. So the best way to do it is the way that I'm doing it. So we're gonna set the variable, and that variable is going to be the product code. So what we'll do is we'll just type in product. We'll just do product ID. Just do product. Just do product. We'll call it okay. And that value is obviously going to be that menu product code, right? So in the menu product code, we'll call it okay. Now that we have this data that we need to all of a sudden, we need to set that field. So we're going to set the field, and that field is going to be the menu product code. And we just want to clear it out because we already have it. We have it in our hot little hand, so we don't need anything else now. So we need to just clear that field out. The next thing that we need to do is we're gonna set some variables, and you can set the variable as the invoice lock if you want to. It's kind of a thing because we want to make sure that we are on we come back to the exact same invoice. So we'll set the variable. You know that we're putting the information on the right. That's the big thing, is we're putting it on the right invoice. So this one we'll just call invoice, and the variable itself is going to be the menu, and this one's going to be invoice lock. Because why? Because we're on number 1. We're on the first. We're making this for register 1. Okay. If I haven't made that clear, so that's kind of where we are right now. We're on register 1. Then the next thing we need to do is we need to start adding some if statements, because we need to figure out, we need to be able to calculate what we want to do with the information that we currently have, and how we want to be able to manipulate that. And one of the big things that we need to do is we have a box. I don't know if you guys remember the box, but I'll show you that box, and it's a quantity box. So if I add a quantity to there, am I going to be able to charge that quantity? So here we're going to say if, and we're going to say if is empty, and this is going to be our quantity box. So if is empty, our quantity box, what do we want to do with that? We want to actually set a quantity field because we want to know how much is there, right? Because if you remember on the invoicing solution, that our total price was the price times the quantity. So you have to have a quantity. You can't have a 0. So you have to have a quantity. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set that. We're going to set a variable. And that variable is going to be quantity. And that quantity we're going to set as, apologize for that sound. We'll just get rid of it. And that quantity that we're going to set is actually going to be a 1. What? I accidentally pushed the buttons too many times. So 1. Okay. Okay. So now we've set that variable at 1. We've said if they didn't put anything in the quantity, then they obviously intended it to be just 1. And then we can end that if statement at that point. But then we have to go back and we have to say, well, if it's not, what if it's not empty? Unfortunately, this is one of those scenarios that you can't just skip that. It has to be, if it is empty, then say 1. But if it's not empty, you have to use it. So you have to use another if statement. If, and then this one would be not, is empty. And that field is going to be that quantity field on the menu. Quantity field, quantity box. That's funny that I messed up that last one right there and just now figured it out. Then we're going to use that variable. So we're going to set the variable quantity to that number. This one is wrong. This one is empty, menu, quantity box. So I did make that mistake, but we went back and fixed it right away. So from this point, we now need to set the variable, and it's kind of redundant, but we're doing it. So we're going to set this variable as quantity, spelled exactly the same way, quantity, and the specified result is basically going to be the menu quantity box. Okay. And now we have, so if it's empty, it'll give us 1. But if it's not empty, it'll give us whatever number we put in there. So if we put 10 in there, we'll sell 10. Okay? If that makes sense, hopefully that makes sense. Now, but if it does have a product in there, or if it does have a number in there, we need to set the field, right? Because we've put something in there, we need to clear that field. So we're just going to go ahead and go into our menu box and our quantity box, and we're going to specify that we have to clear it. And it's amazing, but believe it or not, programs and scripts cannot read your mind. You have to tell them exactly what it is that you want them to do. At this point, we can end the if, and we can go to our layout. When we've frozen the window already, so it's not going to make any changes that you as a user are going to see. So you don't have to worry about it. At this point, we need to go to the layout. We have all of our information, and we need to figure out what layout we need to go to. So at this point, we can actually go to our base inventory 1 layout. And we don't want to use the base inventory because that's the admin one. That's the one that you can make changes on. This one you cannot make changes on. So if it stops and you accidentally find yourself there, modify find thing, and you say modify find, and you end up on that page by mistake, you can't make any changes, or the individual, the user cannot make any changes to it. So now we've gone to our base inventory layout. We need to enter the find mode, set fields, and start that process. So we'll enter find mode. And we don't need it to pause. And I don't ever do the enter find request thing. I just think that it doesn't seem to work as well for me. So we'll just enter the find mode, and then we need to set that field, and that field is that product ID. You guys remember that? So we're going to set our field, and the target field that we're looking for is under our inventory, and it's going to be the product ID number. And we're going to specify the calculated result as the $product, because that's what we did in the upper part. If you'll look up here, we specified that variable as $product. And now we've set the field, so we now need to perform the find. Now we know that the button that we're using, we know the numbers are correct, so we don't necessarily need to set error capture on, but we can do that if you feel like you may need to. So you can go ahead and set your error capture on at this point, and then you can go in and perform the find. Because now if that number doesn't make any sense, it's just gonna say, but nope, didn't work, whatever. So it's not gonna stop the script just because it couldn't find that number. That's what set error capture on is all about. So we've now performed the find. At this point, we can set the variable product ID, we can set the variable product name, we've already got the product ID variable, so we don't necessarily need to reset it, but we can do that. We are on a different page. So And we did use our product variable. So let's go ahead. Let's just go ahead. And even if we duplicate this stuff, we'll just go ahead and duplicate this stuff. We'll go ahead and set our variables. And we have a couple of them. So we can go ahead and just add those pretty quick. And the first one that we're going to set is product, or let's just say product name. Better. Yeah, let's just do product name. Or I like to keep these short if I can. I'm just going to do name. And the product, what we're going to do is we're in inventory, so product name. That's the good thing about already being in the inventory is now it's going to be helpful to me. So now it's going to be actually good. And the next variable that I'm going to do is going to be basically I'm going to set the product ID. So we can just do ID if that would be just fine. And that's going to be product ID number. We'll say OK. Now we need to start figuring out if this thing is on sale. If it's not on sale, what are we going to do? This is the quirky little part, but the cool part about this particular script that I really super like. And what it is it's if I, as a manager, decided I want to put a product on a flash sale, I want to put it on a sale for an hour, I can literally go into my inventory. I can put it on sale by using that sale price. Do you guys remember when I was like figuring out what I want to put on sale price or retail price? If I put a number in the sale price, I want it to use that number first. But if there's no number in there, then I need it to use. So I need that flexibility as a manager. So let's add that flexibility into our script. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, if is empty, so let's add an if statement. If, and we can say is empty if you want to, or not is empty. We have to do both, obviously, but if we say if not is empty, and I don't know why you have to do not is empty, but if our product sale price, if it's not empty, then we want to set that variable, and the variable is going to be that price, and it's going to be our sale price, right? But if it is empty, and we can end the if here, if it is empty, and that field would be our sale price, then we need to set a variable, and that variable needs to be the retail price. But we're going to name it the same thing. So it's still going to be price. Make sure it's exactly the same. Exactly the same as we just did right here, price. And the variable at this point is going to be retail price. This really comes in handy. I think you guys will really super like that. Bayak, look who is streaming. Bayak, what are we trying to do here? We are trying to create a POS system, a digital register for small business. And we're doing fine at it. Thank you very much. We're doing a good job. And I'm drinking my coffee this morning because I need coffee, that's for sure. So we've now gotten to say, okay, so if our sale price is full, if admin or management has put something in the sale price, if we put it on sale, let's use that sale price first. And if it's not on sale, let's just use the regular retail price. Smart. That saves us from having to actually change the retail price every time we want to go on sale and then go back and change it again. This time we can literally select things we want to put on sale. We can put the number in there and we can sell them. Anyone who owns a small business will see the light behind that tunnel very quickly. So that's how that works. Now at this point, we've pretty much got our price, but we do need to set our quantity. So if you remember up here, we've set a quantity. So we already have that in our hot little hand. So we'll go here and we need to set a field. And that field is the quantity field. So in an inventory quantity. So because remember, you have 50 of a product or 15 of a product or how many ever of a product that you actually have. Well, you just sold one, so you need to take that number out of it, right? So now we're going to set the field, and it's going to be quantity, inventory monitor quantity minus, and we're going to use our $ quantity variable. $ quantity variable. So now what this is doing is it's actually going to take out what we had up here in the quantity box. If it was 1, it will take 1 away from our inventory. If it was 10, it will now take 10 away from our inventory, our base inventory. And then at this point, we pretty much have all the information that we need to take to our invoicing section. But we do need to commit the records. We just need to make sure that because we've made changes to those records, so let's go ahead and commit the records. Commit records. And you don't have to have any of this stuff, so just leave it blank. Commit records. At this point, we need to go to our layout, which is our register. If you guys remember the register one. So you can freeze the window again if you really want to, but it's not a big deal. So we'll just say we're going to go to our layout, and that layout is going to be our invoice. Oh, I think it just failed us, and we didn't. Yep, it just failed us. It does happen from time to time. It's probably not going to work. I think Josh is out there helping a customer right now. So let's just wait just a second and see if it's what it's going to do. Hold on, let me ask him if it's working. Is it working? Because mine just froze. It's all right. Then I'll restart it. All right, so I have to close the program and then reopen the program. No big deal. You guys have seen this a few times. Close the program. There we go. Now we'll just reopen it again. Not a big deal, hopefully. Okay. And this one we can just minimize. And we'll file open. And it's the one that we were just on, which we call My Solution. Admin, exactly the same thing. And here we're back. So now we're back to this page. But hopefully, it saved some of our script. By goodness, I really hope that it did. So we'll exit, we'll edit the layout, we'll manage our scripts, and see where we are. I really hope that it did. I really hope that it did. Now the new one that we did, we called it master. It did not change. It didn't new script. Let's see what this one is. No. Dang, burned it. It didn't save our master script. I do not see the master script. Master button. Nope, didn't save it. Dang, burned it. All right, well, so we're going to have to, that really is horrible that it didn't save absolutely any of that script. So, oh, yes, coffee. Got to go. See you later, Bayak. It was nice to see you here. Unfortunately, this is a live stream, so we just have to go through and either recreate the script, which is really a super bummer. It really bothers me that it did not save absolutely any of that. Dang, burned it. That's just amazing to me that it did that. Well, I guess we will go ahead and we'll just start doing it again. The cool thing is we're not too far away, and we are kind of on the page that we kind of need to be on, so we'll just kind of deal with that. We remember that we needed to freeze the window. I apologize for the redundancy of what we just did, but I'm just going to go through it as pretty much as fast as I can, because we need to basically just need to figure out what we're doing, or just get it done. So, and the calculated result is obviously going to be get. You can't type that in there, Tim. You know that. Let's get the script parameter. Get script parameter, and then we need to set our variable. And that variable needs to be the product. I don't know if we're back or we're not back. Hopefully we are back, and hopefully we are live streaming again. I certainly apologize for that delay. That was pretty interesting that it just all of a sudden took us off. The system just crashed. The whole system just crashed. All right. Well, anyway, so we're back. The internet did, Josh, and for some reason it kicked me off. Or I think it could have been YouTube that just kicked me off, but that's what caused a huge number of things. I was streaming, but wasn't streaming. So, needless to say, we ended up losing our script that we were writing. So we're going to rewrite it again. And just follow along really fast. I do apologize. We are going to go as fast as we possibly can to just kind of get this stuff done, because we've already covered it in the last episode, which will be a duplication of this episode. But at least if you watch them both in series, you'll be just fine. So set the variable, the product code. At this point, we need to go ahead and clear those things. So we need to set fields, and those fields are going to be the product code box. And we're going to make it blank. So we're just going to clear that box. Do not use clear box. Do not use empty box. Do not set it at quotation marks. It's the only thing that works. It's proven 100% of the time it works, and you don't have to worry about it. So we did set our variable. We've now set a field. We do now need to make sure that we set a variable, which is our invoice number, so that we've collected the right one. So we'll call it invoice, and it is going to be our invoice lock, and we'll call that okay. And now at this point we need to work on the ifs. So if is empty, just follow along with me. If is empty, and this one is actually the quantity box. So if is empty, we'll need to type in, and that would be quantity box. Then we will set a variable, and that variable will be equal to 1. So the variable will be quantity, and the calculated result is going to be 1. And then we'll set another if statement, and that statement is going to be if not is empty, quantity box. Then we need to set a variable, and that variable needs to be whatever was in that quantity box. And then we need to obviously set the field, and what we're doing is we're setting that quantity box back to 0. We're clearing it out so that there's nothing there, because we don't want to leave stuff in there. We don't want to leave information in there. So we've now done this. What we need to do now at this point is we need to go to our layout, and that layout is our base inventory 1. If you guys remember correctly, we just did this. I do apologize for the repetition, but base inventory level 1, enter find mode. So I'm going to go through the parts that we didn't do. I'm going to go through those pretty fast, so I do apologize that. We're enter the find mode, no pause please. And we need to then set fields. And that field is going to be the product ID code in our invoice or our inventory solution. So product ID, and the product, that is going to be $product. And we will set error capture on, and we will perform the find. And so now our product should be there because we've went to the layout, we've entered the find mode, we've performed the find, so now we're out of there and all of the information should be on a line. And now we need to start dealing with that information that we need. We now have this product that is there. So we need to set our variables. The product ID, the product name, those are two big ones. So we'll go ahead and we'll just, if you just press that, double click the set variable a couple of times, it'll put them both on the field for you. So we'll set the variable, and I think the first one that we need to set will be our product, the name of our product. So we're just going to call it the name, and that is going to be in our inventory, and it's going to be the product name. And the next one is going to be, I'm just going to type in ID. It may seem redundant, but that's okay. And it's the inventory product ID number. And now what we need to do is we need to do a couple of ifs because we want the sale price thing. So we're going to do those because this is, we're getting kind of close to where we stopped before, or where we were just like thrown off. I don't know what the deal was with there. But if is empty, and this is going to be the inventory sale price, then we need to set a variable, and that variable needs to be the retail price. And we're just going to call this one price. Make sure you spell it the same and correct, because if you don't, then you're really going to mess up. And that's going to be our inventory retail price. Retail price. So if our sale price box is empty, just use the retail price. But if it's not empty, which is kind of a big deal, if not is empty, and I'm going to try to save this in just a second. Is not is empty, because I don't want to lose the part that I've just put in there, the sale price. Then we want to set the variable as, we want to set the price variable as that. Right? So price, specify as the sale price. Inventory sale price. And if you notice from the last time, if you're around on the last one, you'll see there's a little bit of change in that scripting, but that's fine. This will work exactly the same. It's the exact same thing. It's just, I've just switched it a little bit. If this is empty, if that's not empty, but this will actually work. You can see me now. Why, thank you. I'm glad because yeah, what happened is it just crashed. Everything crashed. It was kind of weird. It was YouTube that actually crashed. So now we are back to where we were before, and I'm going to Control S, and dang burned it, you better save it. And it didn't. It crashed it again, but hopefully this time it saved it. By goodness, that's upsetting. I do understand, because I do have several of these programs open at the same time, but it shouldn't be an issue for my program. I almost wish I wouldn't have put a password on this now, because it's kind of a pain in the butt to have to go through and open it. Every time I open it up, I have to put a password on it. Oh my goodness. All right, well, oh, it saved it. It saved it. By goodness, that's amazing that it saved it. Sweet. So it did save it. Oh, goodness. Now I'm at least a little more relieved that it did say, okay, we do have the sale price part. I did want to kind of save it at this point, just to make sure that we didn't lose it. So we do have our price and our sale price. That's kind of a big thing. Now what we need to do is we need to set our field, and that field needs to be, no, that's not what I want. Delete that. So we need to come down here and set a field. Why would I want to set a field all the way the heck up there? So this field is going to be in our inventory, and the field is basically going to be our quantity. And the calculated result is going to be the quantity, which is our inventory quantity minus, and at this point we need to do our, this is where we first need to use our quantity variable, because we need it to subtract that from our base inventory, right? So now we've done that. Base inventory 1. Okay, so we did. I'm just trying to go through my brain, make sure that we've captured all of these things. We do need to, at this point, we can commit the records. It doesn't need to pause. You don't need to use any of the buttons that are inside of that. And then we need to go to our layout. And that layout needs to be our, and this one actually needs to be our register 1 layout, because this is where we're going to add that information to our invoice. And so from this point, we're now here, and we need to say if, and I'm gonna try this, and hopefully this works. So if the register, and it should be invoice number, is equal to, and this should be our invoice, this invoice number that we had. So if we do a $ invoice, so if it is equal to that, or if it is, maybe we should say if it is not equal to that. If it is not equal to, that would probably be the better solution. So if register invoice number is not equal to $ invoice, then we want to enter the find mode, and we want to do all this stuff, right? So at this point, we'll just say enter find mode, put that up here, get rid of the pause. We'll enter the find mode. We'll set that field, which will be our stop. Just move it. There you go. So the target field that we want to set is obviously going to be in the register, and it's going to be our invoice number, and the calculated result is going to be that $ invoice. And this is just making sure that we're keeping our invoices, we're keeping everything on the same invoice. We're not making any major changes to that system, that we're not going from one, you know, like you're not just recreating new invoices every time you turn around. You don't have like 400 invoices when you only wanted one. So we've now set that field. We need to perform the find and then show all records. So if we click here, actually, you got to click down here because I'm used to typing these in. We'll perform the find. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to show all records. And off that goes. So now we can end our if. So it's basically saying if these two numbers are not the same, then look for this invoice number, find it, and let's use this invoice number. The next thing that we need to do is go to, and this will be go to portal row last. Go to portal row, and this one I like to do last. Then, because we're now in our invoicing solution, then we need to start setting fields. And we will set the field, and this one will be under the invoice, and it's going to be our product ID, and the calculated result is going to be $product, right? Now we need this field because if we use and this was something I talked about the other day, how everything is all interconnected. If we use the little button to return it to stock because someone changed their mind, decided they didn't want to buy the product, and you just return it to stock, it uses the product ID, not the SKU number, not all the other fancy stuff. It uses that product ID. That product ID is extremely crucial to the platform of all of your other scripts. So everything works around it. So we have to kind of carry that with us. If that makes sense. Hopefully I didn't really just mess everything up. But so now our product ID is set to our product because that's what we made it here. The other variables are name and or ID. So we could have just said ID, I guess, with this product number. We could have just said $sign ID. And that would have worked as well, because if you remember, we did add that up here in this section where we said set variable ID, and that was the inventory product ID number. And now we need to set those other fields. So the fields that we're now looking to set is we need our quantity, our price, and our product name. So at this point, we can just say set field, set field, set field. Double clicking on every one of those. This field is our invoice, and we need the product name. And this one will be $name. And this one will be, the target field will be the invoice, and the quantity, and the calculated result will be the quantity. And we'll say OK. And the next one that we're going to do is we've got our product ID, our product name, our product quantity. We need our product price. So set the field invoice price. And that price is $price. So now we've set all of those fields, and we can basically just commit the records, and we can go back to our original layout. Should work perfectly. So at this point, we can just type in commit records. And then go to our original layout, go to layout original, and then halt the script. And Control S, because we're saving it, because it finally works now, or it did there for just a brief second. So now we actually have, this is our master button script. We may need to tweak it a little bit. We don't know that. Let's find out. So if we now, being here, and we double click on this button, we can now tell it to perform a script. And the script that we want it to perform, which is in a weird place because it's all the way down the bottom, would be the master button. But the master button, what about the script parameter? Well, here in this window, we see optional script parameter. So in this field, we need to add our product ID number. So for every button that you create, it has to have its own individual product ID number. So this one is 1008, if you remember, 1008. And we'll say OK. And we can always change to hand over cursor, because that's kind of the way I like to do it. And now if we exit the layout, we now have this here. Now you can see that we are on invoice number 21 because that's where our number is. And we didn't put in a quantity, but we will. We'll put in a quantity, and we'll say 5. And we'll push our dollar button. Now if we go to our invoice and double check the number 21, what's happened is it's added 5 bulk sale items at $1, extended price $5, and it's filled in all of our fields. So the script that we just wrote, what that does for us is it takes us from this box to here, where we can sell as many dollar items as we want. But if we do that, what happens to our inventory? So let's go back to our inventory, or go back to our invoice. We just took 45 of them, and so now the the price has gone way up. We've now got a $50 in sales, $2.50 in tax. But let's just, for instance, say, let's edit this layout. Well, let's cash it out. Let's just be done with it. So we're just going to go ahead and cash it out. Say, okay, we're good. We've now gone to 22. We'll exit this. And it's now put our number 22 here. I know it's kind of hard to see, but it is right here. So it's corrected it for us. It's kept that updated. And do you guys remember how many of the, how many of them that I actually said that I put in there? So in our base inventory, if we go to our base inventory and we exit our layout and we sort, I don't know why this sort button is not working. Sort. Show all records. That would probably help. And then we can sort. I want to figure out what this button is doing. Single step, sort records, no dialogue. Okay, sort records by what? Specify order. Well, the order needs to be by category. I don't know why it didn't do that. Ascending order. Okay. Somehow it lost the ability to sort records. Because, oh, you know what? Because I didn't save it just a second ago, I just closed that. Sort record, specific order, category, ascending order, okay. Okay, you have to push the OK button. Now if we exit the layout and we sort, it should sort them. Now we did, you guys remember bulk sale item, it now says I have negative 36. Well, I had a lot more than that. You remember that? I had 15 of them actually when I very first put it in, and now I have a negative 36 because I sold way too many of them. This will now all of a sudden create a negative value in your system and will actually detract from your overall inventory. So you want to make sure that if you are doing a bulk sale item that you add like a bazillion of them, or you make sure that the quantity field is not populated. If it's less than, and you can do that really simple just by saying if it's less than 0, with, you guys remember the conditional formatting, right? If you click on this window and you go into the quantity and you can go into conditional formatting and you can say, okay, if this is less than 0, then just show a 0. Just say 0, or hide it, or don't display it. And that will really help you in your overall view of when you're putting this stuff together, because if you notice, we're saying our total store value right now, the total of all the products in the store, our retail value of that is $6,406. Remember that number. And then over here it says that our total sale, our total actual invested money is $3,033. That's what we paid for our product. So when you're having a negative number like this, it creates a negative value, and that negative value detracts from this overall value, in case you were wondering. Of course, here it's not detracting at all because we clocked it in as 0 because it's not an expense that we actually had because we didn't fill it in. But with that, we're going to effectively end today's stream. I've been on for an hour and some odd minutes, and I just wanted to show you that real quick script. So that we now have all of that duplicity, we have all of these things in our use, in our wheelhouse, and we can make them all work. So until next time, guys, don't forget to subscribe, tell all your friends about it. Hopefully we can start making this thing work. We've started to build it. I'm going to do some cleanup on it, and we'll get with you guys first of next week and take a look at the version that is almost near complete. We'll go from there. So until next time, guys, thank you very much for watching me. And don't forget, leave a comment. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below and I will get to you. I get to every single question that's ever asked me. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. I know, you guys are like, what? What?